Have you ever wondered how to solve these problems? Or maybe your brain gets a little frazzled because there's so much going on. Or possibly it gives you bad memories from when you were in math class? Well, not to worry. I'm Tammy Peterson with Growth by Learning, and I'm here to help you learn how to tackle these problems. So let's go ahead and dive in. Well, notice when we come across these, there's usually multiple layers, and you want to look at them just one at a time. So we're going to focus on this top layer to start with. When we do that, we're going to notice that there are 3 pickles being added together. Since they look like cool pickles, we're going to use the letter C in place of them. So essentially, we have 3 cool pickles added together to give us 51. When we're doing this, we're going to remember our order of operations. Since they're all the same pickle, we can add them together to notice we have 3 C's equals 51. And if we want to know what one of them is, we're just going to undo that multiplication by division. We divide both sides by 3, and we find out that the first pickle, the cool pickle, is worth 17. So each individual one is worth 17. Great. Now that we've got that settled, we're going to take a look at the next line. We're going to notice that we have a cool pickle in there as well as a new one. So what's going to happen is we're going to first write kind of the equation that takes place. And since this one's playing a guitar, I'm going to use M for our musical pickle. So we have a musical pickle plus the cool pickle times a musical pickle equals 36. But here's the cool thing. We already know what that cool pickle's worth. So I'm going to actually take that right out. And I'm going to plug in the 17 since we know that the cool pickle is worth 17. Now we want to remember our order of operations. We multiply before we add. So I'm going to go ahead and notice that I technically need to multiply these together before I can add anything. So you might get stuck here. So we're going to kind of backtrack and take a look at something else. Be like, well, I can't subtract an M from both sides because that doesn't really help me. But I'm going to think for a moment. And so I'm going to make a note kind of off to the side. If you are multiplying something together and then you're adding another one of them. So for example, if I had, let's use easy numbers, 4 plus 5 times 4. If I was going to multiply that, this 5 times 4 is going to give me 20. And then I'm going to add another 4 to it, and that'll give me 24. Notice that is the same thing as 6 times 4. Very curious. Math is all about patterns, so that actually works really well for us to remember that. Because if I'm taking 5 groups of 4, and then I'm having another one kind of combined in there with that, that means I can take 6 of them. So we're going to use that to our advantage to solve the problem down here. So let's get rid of this first. And our new problem now with what we understand is going to be 18m equals 36. Because it's the same idea of I have 17 m's and then I'm adding another one. So really, I've got 18 of them. Same thing I can do mathematically to undo that multiplication. I'm going to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by 18. And I'm going to find that that musical pickle is going to be worth 2. Awesome. All right, so let's give us some more room. And we are just going to move our math up here. We don't want to lose it. And now we're going to take a look at that third row. Notice we've got the musical pickles and we've got a new one. It's kind of a really smart one. I don't really like using S in here, so because it looks too much like a 5. So I'm going to be a genius pickle is what we're going to call this one. So if we take a look, we notice very carefully, you see that there's 2 of them there? They try and trick you a lot on this. So be careful. We are going to take 2 of those musical pickles times our genius pickle to equal 12. Well, here's the cool thing. We know that the musical pickle is worth 2. So I'm actually going to take this out right here, this M out, and I'm going to replace it with that 2. And I'm going to remember that I'm multiplying. So it's going to look like that. And now you have the equation that you can go ahead and solve. So if we take a look here, I now have 4 times the geniuses equals 12. I'm going to undo that multiplication, divide by 4, and I'm going to see that the genius pickle is worth 3. What a fantastic number. Happens to be my favorite one. Okay, now that we know what each of them are worth, we're going to take that information and see how that applies to the new problem to see what everything is worth. Let's give ourselves some room again. We'll put these guys right up here. Okay, here we go. We are going to pay very close attention to what's actually happening here. I'm going to notice I start with my genius pickle. So I'm going to put G for genius. Then I have that plus sign there, so I'm going to add it. And then I'm going to notice that once again, they're trying to trick me, and they put 2 cool pickles right there. So I'm going to make sure I don't miss that. And I'm going to put 2 cool pickles. And then I'm going to notice that I'm multiplying it by the musical pickle. Now, something that you want to be aware of that I didn't do in this particular problem is sometimes they'll change the number of items on the pickle, which will change the value. But we'll do that again another time. Let's take a look at just this one. We're going to start substituting. Our genius pickle is worth 3. So I'm going to substitute 3 for the G. I'm going to bring down my plus and my 2. And then I'm going to notice that my cool pickle is worth 17. So I'm going to put 17 in here. Bring down my multiplication. And then I have my musical pickle, which is worth 2. Now I need to remember my order of operation rules. We are going to do all that multiplying before we do adding. I'll do a different video with more of the rules of operation. If you're interested in that, comment below for me. And I can start teaching you how to do those type of problems as well, so they're not as scary and you can beat people out of the park with that. Okay, getting back to this one, we're going to multiply. So first I'm going to bring down just my 3 and my plus. 2 times 17 is 34. So I'm going to replace that with 34. And then I still have a times 2. Now 34 times 2, of course, is going to give me 68. So here, now I have 3 plus 68. And when I add those together, I end up with 71. So our final answer is 71. All right, how did you do? Do you have questions about any of the steps? If so, let me know down below, and that way I can better help you. All right, thanks for coming and taking the time to learn how to attack problems just like this.